Part 9. Freedom Alchemy Class. Ascension. Class suspension, St. Germain, 29th April, 2020. Invocation. Mighty I Am Presence, give us the wisdom to build a concrete form on the concrete plane of mind, and to know that we will not be able to look on the concrete plane of the mind for the new laws, for we will not find them there. These laws lay within the cave where their form will present itself as a malleable, pliable, or a ductile wave of consciousness that can be manipulated to its highest level. Awaken our consciousness to follow the beam of light within the heart of our soul consciousness, our intuitional guidance from where we observe and where the highest concepts of truth flow. St. Germain. Greetings, dear ones. I am sorry to inform you all that this discourse shall be the last in this series. It has been decided that due to the submissions and or a lack of them, that time must be spent to reconsider the continuation of this class as it stands today. I am not going into any detail as this has been done to its height of tolerance already, and therefore there is no other choice but to disband this class for now. If you are seriously wondering why this action is being taken, I invite you all to go back to the beginning and revisit and study the first 5 introductory alchemy class discourses to discover why this is necessary. Should anyone have any objections to this action, then please take this up with your own I Am presence or myself privately. It is impossible to accentuate the importance of working with your I Am presence further when free will continues to dominate the decisions of many in this class. We have tried so many times now to help you to place your focus, attention, and concentration upon your I Am presence. And this was the last test that was designed to see who was actually taking on board what the truth is of their purpose and higher work. I told you in no uncertain terms I was going to test you, and you accepted wholeheartedly this condition. Actually, this law of examination or trial. Do you remember the story I told you about beloved Napoleon? There is a correlation to his obduracy or a lack of detailed application in not following my instructions here within this class when directly under the I Am presence. First to his or her own, and then to myself and the masters who came to sponsor him. In part 7, I told you, I quote, "So if you will give me your attention and the ascended masters, first giving to your I Am presence, followed by giving to us, then we will be able to increase that energy by the release of your energy, which is not yet at its highest level of resonance and vibrational frequencies of light to do the work. But remember, dear brothers and sisters, whether it is in your home, work, or business, whether it is in your government, or whether it is in the conquering of any imbalanced conditions, the imperative need is for some of your physical energy, which is your life, to be released to us, that we may amplify and intensify that to do the things in the physical octave that are required. It is imperative. Without that, we could not do it because mankind have placed themselves in a condition by lack of understanding, and you have to pay it back now. You have to give back to life all you have taken." End excerpt. This is not about personality. It is about knowing consciously who you truly are and why you are here enough to place yourself in a position of higher service. It is not for everyone here. And it is not a matter of pointing fingers. It is really simple. Either one is ready to become the divine alchemist right now, or who needs more time to make the choices in their lives that shall qualify them for such opportunity another time. Many of you keep forgetting, dear hearts, in your everyday lives, in your requirements and those with whom you have pledged to serve, that your only supply of all things, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, comes from your I Am presence. Without your focus and active participation, and more so your higher attentive communication, everything you do is reduced to your own free will creation. You are what you think and what you give your faith to get your energies. And it is clear that not all of this class places their divine faith here in this opportunity to become the master alchemist just yet. Your presence is the treasure house of your life. And if you would only accept that fully and call to your presence every day, every moment, and appropriate every thought, word, and action to your I Am presence without giving your human personality a thought, it matters not who you are or what you do. For me, it concerns me not whether a person has 1 penny in your pocket or what they do, but rather who is standing forth within thy presence. To them I say, come, stand forth in all of the shining glory of the divine experience that is the wholeness of the resurrection. Come and hold each day as a chalice of opportunity to live free and to make all men and women free. To become a divine alchemist, one must know the presence within and allowing that I Am presence to take command of his or her mind, body, and feeling world. This is how one releases from the treasure house of God's abundance of all things that they need and what they can use toward rightful application to God life. It is your birthright. Without the fortitude, strength, concentration, and dedicated focus upon the beloved I Am, any determined activity to release the sacred white firelight substance will only disappear before you. No one can do the work for you. I repeat, to reach the levels of Christ consciousness, it takes human effort, a lot of human effort. Not hard work, just focused mental aptitude and determination. I wish to reiterate, it matters not what you do in life. No position, action, or intention, whether what may be perceived as the most menial tasks or positions you may deem to hold, it is not the position or work that matters. It is the volition and attitude that supports that work, task, or obligation. Our beloved brother Jesus gave you a beautiful example of this in his Christ letters when he spoke about the dear souls who change lives every day by serving cups of tea. Volition, dear souls. The power to make a choice or a decision, whether good or bad, life-changing or life-draining. In the case of this class, the power to make a choice that rises above all free will attitudes that restrict and bind to old consciousness patterns. Without the focus of one's mind to hold in place the atomic matrices, that is, the beginning of the precipitation process, there shall be no alchemical precipitation or manifestation. It is not possible. So if one cannot follow simple instructions or participate at levels beyond rudimentary levels, then they are simply not ready to proceed. Not in such a class as is being offered to you here. I have told you in previous discourses, we have told you, if you say you are in, then this new series of discourses will test you even more. It will call upon your commitment, your resolve to keep on keeping on, and to see just who is ready to take the next steps within this united force field called the Elemental Grace Alliance. We need you, as many as we can help to arrive in the core of the Ega Ashram. Today, you are, as a group, united in one cause, one purpose. From this group, you are then going to be selected by us, the Masters, to move into the core of the Ega Ashram. These are vastly different levels of awareness and function. Master Joel Kuhl and the Great Divine Director have begun the explanations of all this. I will also elaborate upon these differentiations as part of this ashramic group life of divine synthesis in due course. End excerpt. I wish to take you back to an excerpt from the Christ Jesus I Am discourse that brings a simplicity to all we wish to achieve here in this class. Understand this, and your journey will cease to be hard work and will remove any rigidity, resistance, confusion, lack, delay, or misappropriations from here on in. I quote, "Sometime, somewhere, every individualization of God the Father must find his or her way back to the Father through his or her I Am presence, fulfilling his or her cycle or cycles of individualizations in the use of the activity of the outer self. The Earth is the only sphere in which there is the density of the atomic structure that you experience. The conscious recognition and use of the I Am presence, which you are, steadily raises the vibratory action of your atomic structure, unclothing and liberating the electronic activity which is hidden within the atom, enabling you to become self-luminous beings. I wish it here, distinctly understood by all who may receive this or ever contact it, that I am not, and never was, a special being, created of God different from the rest of humanity. It is true that I had made a previous conscious effort, and had attained much, previous to the embodiment in which I won the eternal victory. My choice, volition, of experience 2,000 years ago was to set the example which every individualization of God would and must sooner or later follow." End excerpt. Memorize, dear ones, that this class is all about the rightful application to God life, and it can take a long time for anyone who comes into the information before such applications can be experienced that eventually becomes a manifested form, but which is also unnecessary in time where rightful volition is applied and given attention and focus to. I have shared with you why the I Am presence, Saint Germain Foundation activities have lost their force field. Do not allow that to happen here. In the past, all my messengers spent weeks, months, years, and even decades of concentrated effort after receiving my training before a visualization was made manifest. Look at the concentration and effort we needed to give this divine plan that has been called the Elemental Grace Alliance. 80 years to manifest a single person to act upon and initiate our visualization, now your visualization. We know how much effort is needed, but with rightful application, failure is impossible. So any failure comes down to the applicant losing focus and concentration, or simply not giving time to their own desire or vision for self. You're working with cosmic laws here, and we know the laws. The masters have applied these laws to their own freedom. I have applied them to my own freedom, And I am here before you in a position to prompt you and tell you how and why you can and cannot have certain results. Could you blame the law? Could you blame your application if you quit? If you started a business and after a few months you turned your back on the business and walked out, do you suppose it would succeed? What about making a soft-boiled egg? Walk away and leave it cooking. What do you think would happen without your focus to turn it off at the right moment so it would not go beyond your desired result? Now, when you have applied the law, and then there rushes in upon you a feeling of, well, I have not had results yet. At that moment, you turn your back upon the great presence of life. And unless the momentum has been gained enough to force itself through, the probability is that you will have to start all over again in your application. I am prompting you. Do not yield one single instant that your application could fail or has failed in any way because, as we have said repeatedly and others of the great ones have said to you, we have observed among the students innumerable times where they were right up to the full release of the momentum that would bring the result, when they said, "Oh, I guess it's no use. My application has not worked." They annulled everything that had been gained up to that point, which was ready to press forth into use in their outer world. That is why I say, dear ones, do not yield to such a thing as failure in your application. It never would fail. Think of it. Do you think when once your attention has been called into the presence of all life, that life would ever fail you? Don't you see that everything of limitation or so-called failure that enters into your life is your own doing? It is so wonderful, my brothers and sisters, when you self-realize that you have come to the point of understanding where you comprehend what is acting out. Without this comprehension, there is only one result. You have to start again, go back to the beginning. Just as Jesus told you in jumping the train parable. Dear ones, the fervent valleys and greener pastures are not outside of yourself. To start again is simply because of the lack of determination and understanding upon your part. Still, life does not condemn you or punish you for having made these mistakes. It simply waits until you are ready again. You can be guaranteed God will send another train. So it does not make any difference to us what your mistakes have been. That is not our business. Our God business is to help you produce perfection, and we will come again when the next train arrives. We have never condemned a human being yet, nor ever will for their mistakes, nor even referred to them unless it was to instruct them in some way. Life does the same thing. It has waited throughout the centuries for you to give it your attention once again. Therefore, give it the opportunity to flood its greater volume and activity of perfection forth into your world. So I tell you this, for I am giving you instruction. I am trying to help you understand that unless you turn up to life, then life will simply move on and wait for you another time. In part 7, I said, I quote, "The great sea of universal substance upon which these qualities have been recorded expresses them back to their source, the individual, by means of the four elements, as cataclysms in nature, or the free will nature of the being, individually or as a group. Such activities are but the Creator's ways of purifying and shaking itself free from the contamination of human discordant thought and feeling, and returning to its pristine condition of God purity, perfection, and balance. I told you in my last discourse, Part 8, I quote, "One law, then, would I instill in the hearts of the students, disciples, or initiates of divine alchemy. God is absolutely just. The universe is absolutely just. All injustice arises either in man or woman's misinterpretation and misunderstanding of the flow of events, or in man or woman's mishandling of justice. Those who have not apprehended life correctly, those who remain ignorant of the laws of the divine as well as human justice, cannot be relied upon to preserve the flame of divine justice. As I have stated before, every student, disciple, and initiate must be willing to throw off the shackles of the false teachers and their false teachings. One cannot serve two masters. I ask this question to all those who did not complete or submit the reinvention of self-exercise. How just were these actions to the truth of who you are? We are speaking of the law of divine justice here. I'm going to leave it here for now. I do hope and pray that those who have not followed what has been asked of them review the 5 discourses mentioned above, and you will sincerely see why I had to make this decision to suspend this class. The next stage that we were going to begin cannot commence while members cannot be relied upon to turn up when called to administrate and execute the authority of life that awaits the core membership of the Ega. If one cannot follow their I Am presence consciously, how can they expect to govern anyone or anything else? Those who are ready will continue in due course. However, for the moment, you are free to go about and do whatever you feel you need to. I would suggest that the invocations for the Global Independence Day continue with earnest by those who wish to continue with the SOPEC and Ega. I will return after some deeper contemplation to set in motion again with those who shall be selected by the masters present. Be mindful then. Let men and women who would practice alchemy learn first to mirror the great examples of all ages who have used heaven as their design. And then let them learn to select the best qualities of their life so that alchemy can be used as it was divinely intended, as the most noble method of achieving the desires of the heart, right here and now. Just one more thing that I wish to offer some advice to. You have so much to do with the responsibilities that you have accepted. Please, I implore you, do not waste your time on the tasks that you set yourselves that are not a divinely orchestrated use of divine economy. This goes with all choices you make. However, in this context, I refer to this. I do appreciate your goodwill in writing an ode to me, but this is not important. You have far more elevated needs to proclaim your rightful application to God's life. Be careful of such a choice, as they could be deemed as a tilt towards spiritual glamour. So I say again, I sincerely appreciate your adoration of me, but time is precious, dear ones. Give me your thanks and gratitude through your praise and appreciation to your own I Am presence, of which I am present, and then through the rightful application to your life in your divine service to God and humanity, the elementals, devas, and angelic host. That is far more life-giving to humanity and the bridges you have yet to build. But I am grateful just the same. Thank you. I leave these words for you to ponder very carefully. They are imperative to comprehend in their full breadth, especially for those who will be invited to return back to continue with my personal impersonality, tuition, and training. For the greater glory of God, we go. Take this power and venerate it above every limiting condition and watch the alchemy of self expand. Transmute the lies of shadowed substances, thought forms, beliefs, and old habits and complacencies that arrest your spirit's upward soaring. Realize that conditions of the human limitation are but ghosts that parade upon the stage of moral existence only to be laid to rest forever by eternal reality. Each person must become aware of their own choices and select either freedom or fetters as they explore the chemistry of their own state, where these self-examinations for the discovery of their deceptions to bring them into focus upon the mirror of truth. Then determine to alter each base condition, constructing within the crucible of the hour that hallowed progress which is born of eternal perfection. I am Saint Germain, your holy brother. Benediction. We give praise and thanks, mighty I Am Presence, for enabling us to see and feel in our lives the world's limitless gifts of prosperous life, which flourish in your great opulence and gives fulfillment and joy to all forms of consciousness embodied upon beloved Mother Gaia. Beloved mighty all-existing presence, we thank you for freeing us from all imagined boundaries and limitations in our minds and bodies each day more and more. We will to achieve and will to remember the perfection we are.